beginner to advanced users, these are some of the best and fastest keyboard shortcuts that improve your workflow. Make sure you stay till the end because I start with the easiest ones and then move on to the most advanced keyboard shortcuts. Make sure you use Ctrl-N to open up a new composition and Ctrl-K to edit the composition settings. Also use the shortcut Ctrl-Y to create a new solid or background and Ctrl-Shift-Y to edit its settings. Some of the other shortcuts you need to know is quickly switching the tools. For example, pressing G for using the pen tool. Pressing Y to select the pan behind tool to center your anchor point. And pressing V to select your selection tool. Pressing W to rotate, pressing Q to select shape, and tapping Q to toggle through the shapes. Also for renaming, select the layer and press Enter to rename the layer. One of the other shortcuts is double tapping U on a selected layer. This reveals all of the properties that has been changed. And if you scroll down, you can see only the position of this layer is showing up. That is because only the position property has been changed for this layer. Holding Alt and clicking your fill options can toggle through the different types of fills that you can use, also for the stroke. Pressing B anywhere on the timeline can set the starting point of your work area, and pressing N can set the end point. Once you do this, you can right click on the work area and trim composition to the work area length. This can save a lot of time instead of going to composition settings and changing the length of the composition. Pressing F9 is a keyboard shortcut to ease your keyframes, which is otherwise linear. Pressing Shift F3 can take you directly to your graph editor. In order to squish your layers or the length of the keyframes, you need to select the keyframes and hold down Alt and click and drag the endpoints of any of the keyframes. In order to reverse the animation, you can always right click and go to Time Reverse Keyframes. Pressing P on the selected layer reveals its position. Also, other shortcuts are T for opacity, R for rotation, A for anchor point, etc. If you hold down Shift and press these shortcuts, they will add on to your already visible properties. Also, pressing U once on the keyboard shows up only the keyframed properties. Again, over here we can use Alt, hold down Alt and click and drag to extend the time of the keyframes. Also, holding Shift can snap the keyframe to something that is already keyframed. If your layer is selected and you wish to split it anywhere in the timeline, press Ctrl-Shift-D. Instead of dragging your layers to the top or bottom of the timeline, hold down Ctrl and use square bracket to move it up or down. Holding down Ctrl-Shift square bracket is going to move it to the very top of the timeline, and vice versa. Using Alt and square bracket can crop your layer length. So if you have a composition of short length and your layer is outside the timeline, holding Alt and using the square bracket can bring it inside your timeline. Holding down Shift and pressing the plus or minus sign can toggle through your transfer modes. If you wish to add an effect to your layer, press Ctrl 5 to reveal wherever your effects and presets panel is. Once your layer is selected, pressing F3 can reveal its effect controls. Pressing Spacebar key can temporarily enable the hand tool. Scrolling on your mouse usually zooms you inside and out, but not to a designated point inside the composition. In order to do that, hold down the Alt key and use the scroll on your mouse. Pressing page up and down can move your timeline by 1 frame. Also, holding down Shift and pressing page up and page down can move your timeline by 10 frames. If you Control-click your time, it can change to frames. You can mark the start point of an animation by using the Start key. To jump back and forth between keyframes that has already been set, use the J and K key. Use the keyboard shortcuts I and O to jump to the start and end of a selected layer. When you're working with templates, chances are there will be expressions on some of the layers. So in order to reveal this, double tap E on the selected layer. This will reveal all of the expressions that have been applied on a selected layer. In order to delete these expressions, Control and click all of these properties and Alt, Shift and equal to sign. If you want to fit an image to your composition size, press and hold Control, Shift, Alt and H. This will move to the height of the composition, and if you press Ctrl Shift Alt G, this will move to the width of the composition. In order to hide the outlines of multiple selected layers, press Ctrl Shift H.